Hello there, everyone. Welcome to the League of Europe. We are here for round six for the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm your host, Jacob. I am joined by my co-commentator, Tand.
Hello, how are we all doing? Oh no, we are here in the streets of Monaco, one of, if not the most iconic tracks on the calendar, and one of the most difficult as well. So technically challenging with walls so natural, so close to you. You have to go close to them to be quick, but at the same time, there's a lot of risk that you run by doing that. So yeah, it's going to be great to see how these guys get on, and hopefully, uh, as little wings are broken as possible. But I'm not too optimistic. We'll have to wait and see. Are you here? Um, not sure what's going on with Jaco, but imagine he's away for some reason. So I'll just take over for now. Right now, well, I'm not sure. I believe he's still got the graphic up, but yeah, I'll just keep you posted on what's going on the track as of now. I believe we've got Rick who's just starting a lap. Gary is along his lap, so we'll see someone that's quite near the end of it. Looks like that's going to be Owen, the Toro Rosso man.
Apologies
He
about that one.
breaks down.
Sorry, I was just
Okay.
a little bit held
Yeah,
up then. Sorry about that. Yeah, I did have planned to just go over like the standings and stuff like that, but that's had to be cut a little bit short. So as you can see, we're here for the Monaco Grand Prix. You can see like the top five standings on the graphic at the moment. All of the useful bit of information that you would need. I will actually get the standings up for you guys now. So if I here we go. So we've got Mitch currently in first position. He's ahead by quite a bit of a margin of 34 points ahead of Decky. So
yeah.
Decky in P2 with Harry in P3, both the Mercedes drivers second and third. Rick in the Red Bull P4. Nicely done from him. Paris, I think it was last week's winner. No, it wasn't. That was Spain. Who won in Spain? I think it was
Harry.
Mitch. Oh yeah, it was Harry. So Paris, who isn't actually in this race again today, in P5. Joom in 6th, Killer Blue 7th, Mitch's teammate. New Waluigi in 8th, Owen in ninth, and I don't know why it says Falcon in 10th because I know he isn't. I don't think he's actually in the league anymore, but it is what it is. So we'll crack on with having a look at the race now. So let's have a look. Who's done their laps so far? Mitch has so far gone fastest, doing a 108.5. And as I say that, RJ's just gone even quicker. Just having a look at the standings of it as well. I think the stream seems to be lagging a little bit at the moment, which is quite annoying. Yeah, it's just frozen. Apologies about this, people. There we go. Right, that's fixed itself now. Yeah, apologies about that. Um, so yeah, who should we go on board with? Are you there, Tad?
Yeah, I'm here. So I don't know. I think a lot of these guys are going for it in laps. I don't think any of these guys are going to be pushing as hard as possible early on in this session because it's Monaco. It's so difficult to get a good lap in. But currently we've got Mitch top of the timesheets by some margin, a good 6/10 clear of Wreck in the 7-7. I think we could be seeing guys getting into the low sevens later on in the session if they're able to keep it out of the walls, that is, which is very much easier said than done. I believe we've got Harry. No, he's not really on the lap. Doesn't look like anyone's really on a flyer at this stage. The first run of times in. Currently, Mitch fastest so far, with quite a variation of times. Got two guys that went on the Supers, the NBA Game Boys and Bullet Boy. But yeah, I'm expecting the strategy to be probably a hypers to supers, so I expect most of these guys to crack on the hypers and just on the softest compounded tyres, and we'll be able to see these guys running flat out and putting in the best laps possible.
Yeah, we will indeed. I'm just going to go on board with Larkin. He's on a lap on the super soft tyres, so on the hardest compound tyre. Going through probably the most trickiest part of the track. The very, very slow hairpin. Jerry's actually just put in the chat that it's going to be all dry, so it's going to be completely dry for the race.
Right.
So that's something nice to see. Coming through the section, I think he may have just got that invalidated. I think he cut the curb a bit too much.
I'll have a look. Does he keep covering it? Yeah, he has actually invalid, so he hasn't backed off his lap, but I'm expecting him to possibly pull into the pits. We'll see. No, he stays out, so he's going to go round for another one and try and get a full lap in this time.
Yeah, so we will see how Larkin fares. So as I said, that was probably just sort of like a little banker lap that he was doing. Now it's going to be the actual lap. We'll stay on board with him because I think he's probably going to be the first one.
I'm watching Decky. He's just coming through to back, so he's further on the lap. So we'll see how the Mercedes man is able to get on as he flies through the second part of the swimming pool. It's thrilling to see an F1 car running at high speed going through there. Grabs first gear going through Razcast and now exits Anthony Mills at the final corner. Goes up to the line. Is he going to challenge that time of Mitch? Through to the line. He goes P2 on 8.1. That's not a bad banker from the German. We're about halfway through this session now, or just under. What's going on?
Oh, I was just watching Decky. It was just as he was coming out of the first corner, almost just binned it completely in the wall. He just slightly touched the wall, and luckily he didn't lose any front wing or anything. Just had a look. The Toro Rosso of Own has gone into P4, so that's not a bad result. And his teammate Jarry's only in P8 as well. Remember, it's the top 12 runners that will get a point.
Yeah.
So it's looking pretty good for the two Toro Rossos so far. Looking also good for Rick, but I couldn't really say the same for his teammate Gary. In fact, let's go on board with Gary. I think he may have invalidated his first lap.
Well, the Red Bull is going to crack on with it anyway. He's had a good run of qualifying results in this league so far. It's very close to that outside wall coming out of the hairpin, sorry. And as you said, I wouldn't agree with you in saying it's the most difficult, but definitely the most frustrating to drive. You just feel like you can't maximize the car. It's a weird track. This, it's fast cars going to drive slow in a way. But anyway, Gary Donegan goes around to back one of the most difficult corners on the calendar, gets a slight tap on that outside wall. I don't think he would have got damage, but he gets a little bit offline, going through this wing, massive bit of oversteer. He's coming up behind that Renault of RJ, which, even though he's not actively holding him up, it'll be a bit of a distraction, which isn't going to help at all, but he is going to get maybe the tiniest bit of slipstream up to the line, goes to Red Bull. It's an 8.8. I believe he did move up past V5, but only there, so he's going into P9. He's going to have to hammer in another lap.
Yeah, he has indeed. I'm going on board with his teammate Rick. I think he's just coming through the final sector now. Is he going to improve on his time of 108.3? He does. He goes up to P4, just beating out Spine in the... Is that the Haas? Or is that the Sauber? He's in the Haas.
It's the Haas. Oh, Bullet Boy.
Has lagged out from the session again. He's saying that his setup is the worst. He's so slow. Oh, Mitch has retired from the session.
Whoa!
So either he's binned it.
Well, that is a surprise.
Or he thinks that he's okay with his lap.
I don't think he would have been happy. I actually caught him spectating. He was on the hot lap, so I think he has binned it. It's a massive surprise and could leave. I know he's got a big lead in the championship, but it could leave the door wide open, particularly for someone like Decky, who's, I believe, is sitting P2 in the championship. He'll be so happy to see Mitch out of the session, I bet. because he's got a real chance of cutting into Mitch's championship lead here.
Yeah, he does indeed. He has just said that he did crash, and I've just seen it from Rick's point of view as well. He crashed on the, I still don't know what you call it, just after the tunnel. He crashed it there.
Uh, I think it's Nouvelle chicane. It's called.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Novel.
maybe on the. Yeah, you can hit the wall there. Certainly, it's not exactly a place where you see crashes normally, but it is definitely possible. Every corner is a possibility to have a crash at this track, so that catches out Mitch, and yeah, I think that's going to be a massive shock and a real opportunity for someone else to really take the stage here.
Yeah, and that someone could possibly be one of the Mercedes, as Harry has just gone up into P3, so just behind his teammate. Obviously, I know Decky and Harry will both be in a party with each other, so they probably have just got the same setup as each other. Decky
Um,
still just besting his teammate at the moment, however.
you say they'll have the same setup, but they are teammates technically, but I don't imagine they're teammates in every sense of the word, and they're better rivals in some ways. But who are you watching? Because right now I'm watching Deke as he goes through the Nobel chicane. Harry is just a couple of seconds behind him on track. Deke goes through to back, gets a little tap on the wall as we've seen several drivers doing, but not enough to get damaged. Bullet Boy's managed to get himself back in. Deke flies through the swimming pool. Now, hard on the brakes, Razkaz grabs first gear second and holds it through the final corner. Is he going to beat that 7-7 from Mitch? Up to the lane. What's the time going to be? 7.8. He's just down. Harry has bailed off his lap, so the Mercedes drivers don't improve their positions, but Deke has moved ever closer to that Ferrari of Mitch.
He has indeed. I'm going to go on board with Spine because he is just starting his lap right now. Gets a nice exit out of turn one. Has the run up towards towards Casino. Is he going to be able to keep it nice and smooth through there? It does look as if he will. He's got a Toro Rosso that is just in front of him, but just moves out of the way. I believe that was Own. Coming around the hairpin now. And a little bit of a tap on the outside wall, but it doesn't look like that slowed him down at all. In fact, it looks like maybe even helped him. Yellow's in sector 1 and sector 2. Probably just a few cars being let through. Coming down up to the Novel chicane now. Has a little bit of a wobble, but has managed to hold it very nicely. Got around there relatively quick. Now, coming up to, as you said, one of the most trickiest corners at the swimming pool section. Takes that almost flat out through there. Now coming up towards the final corner. Is he going to be able to hold that nicely? A little bit of oversteer, almost into the wall, but it looks like this is an improvement. Because P3 splits the Mercedes in half.
Yeah, not bad from Spain. A very clean lap from him. Not too many mistakes besides maybe the last couple of corners. Jari is just exited the final corner. He goes up to the line. Does he improve? Yes, he does. He goes up to 7 on an 8.3, but the field's so close that, big improvement. Could really see a driver jumping right up the field because, from third down to ninth, there's just over 3/10 of a second covering them. So there's really not much in it at all.
Nah, not at all. I'm going to go on board with the Toro Rosso of Own. He is currently on a lap. One of the Red Bulls, I think that was Gary that was just letting him past. Now coming up towards the swimming pool section. Has a little bit of a tap on the outside wall. Does look as if he's managed to get a nice run through there. Kept that very clean out of the wall as well. Not like most of the drivers, they've been just using the wall just to help a little bit. Coming up towards the final corner now. Has the straight run down. He remains in P9. He didn't actually improve on his time.
Yeah, maybe he's struggling slightly on that lap. He did make a couple of mistakes. Onyx is joining late on, so he's going to be put into a random car, I believe, which is not the best, but nevertheless, he will be able to continue and race. Who is on the lap right now? The killer's just setting up for a lap. Harry isn't far off a lap, I believe. Gary is definitely on a lap, so I'm just going to watch the Red Doman as he goes through the tunnel.
Yeah, we're right on board with Gary just to see if he's going to be able to improve on his time. I don't see how I reckon he'll improve on his time. Will he get towards the podium spot though? And will anyone beat Mitch? I'm looking at those top 5 guys to see if they'll end up surpassing the Ferrari driver. Lawrence has also just joined, so quite a few late comers into the race. Larkin has improved his time up to P13 as well.
On ultras. Going up to the line, Gary does an 8.4, and I don't know if he moved up any positions, he may have moved up past V5, but he's right at the back of just that cluster of times. Everyone just so close, and now, as we're a bit unawares to this, we're actually creeping up on the final part of the session now, so these guys looking to get their final laps in and try and put themselves up there towards the front.
Yeah, we are indeed. Most of the people are now out, just about to start on their laps. I think Killer is actually on a lap. Here we go, about to come across the line. It goes P3. He's got enough time for another lap. However, I don't know if he will actually end up going for the other lap. It doesn't look as if he is. So I think Killer is content with 3rd position. What about Spine? Spine's just come through the swimming pool section now, just about to start his lap. Where is Decky? Decky's at the Novel chicane. Decky may not make it.
Ooh, he should be fine, but he is going to cut it a little bit close, probably within 10 seconds. But what that means is that he'll be probably the last car to cross the line, so he'll have the track evolution on his side.
He will indeed. He's got plenty of time to be able to cross the line. So, Own has gone P6 and is content with staying there. We'll go on. Who's going to be
Lap.
across the line? It is a very good lap. A 108.2. It splits. In fact, goes ahead of the sister team of Ripple. We've gone board with Rick because Rick is on a lap at the moment. We've also got the Renault of RJ just behind him on a lap. So I'll stick on board with Rick as he's about to come up to the line. He goes P3.
Ooh.
RJ stays in P9. So Rick now up there on the podium spot. Killer has just come into the pits. So as I said, Killer, that's his laps done and dusted. Spine now just coming up to the swimming pool section. Stay on board with him as he goes across the penultimate corner and goes into the pits.
Yeah, Harry also backed off his lap, so he's not going to start any higher than 6th, but he could very well start lower. As Jari now goes through, Razka slight lock up on the right front, but he is able to continue. Tries to get a decent run through Anthony Nogue, and here comes the Toro Rosso. Does he move up the grid? He does stay in PA. Doesn't quite improve on his time. Last one to cross the line, I believe, is going to be V5. Does he move up? No, I believe he did improve, but not enough to move through. So that is going to round out your grid. Yeah, that was an eventful qualifying session.
It was indeed. Mitch, I reckon, was quite lucky that no one actually beat his lap. Decky did improve, but it was only by like a 100th of a second. So it was unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. I said he did improve, but it wasn't quite enough. But as you can see, Mitch on pole. I think most people expected that one, as he's obviously the championship leader at the moment. Decky in 2nd with Rick in 3rd, Killer in 4th, Spine in 5th, Harry in 6th with Own in 7th, so the Toro Rosso 6th and 7th, sorry, not 6th and 7th, 7th and 8th. RJ is in 9th, Gary rounding out the top 10. Then you've got V5, New Aloigi, Larkin, Bullet Boy and FC Game Boys that can start on whatever tyre they want through 11th through to 15th. Don't forget, we've also got Onyx and Lawmans that has joined the session. They won't have a setup. They'll have to use a default setup, but default setup around Monaco isn't actually a bad thing, from my experience.
Yeah, and also, yeah, the good thing about having a default setup is that it's not really going to be too unstable, which is probably going to be key for race pace. So we'll see how these guys are able to get on. But yeah, Mitch will be probably counting his lucky stars that he's still on pole. I think a lot of drivers could have potentially beaten that time, but couldn't put it together. I saw Harry messed up his final lap. He probably had the pace for pole. So did several others. But yeah, as the drivers ready up, we could be in for one of the most chaotic races of the season so far. It's Monaco. There is a grid of 17 cars, I believe, which is probably 16 too many for a safe race around the streets of Monaco. So we'll have to see how they get on.
Yeah, we will indeed. They're all just doing their race strategies now. Have you got any predictions of who you think is going to come out on top?
Um, I've got to go with last season's winner Decky because Mitch will Bennett. He's
Oh,
yeah, I've said it right here. I believe Mitch is going to win it because I don't know. I feel like that accident in qualifying is going to be playing on his mind a little bit, and that could help him. He might be just a bit more measured with his driving, or it could lead to him being under pressure and eventually making a mistake. So yeah, I think it's gonna be exciting, but certainly probably a race of attrition that we're going to be treated to. There there are going to be people that aren't going to finish. Um, so yeah, I expect Bullet Boy's out again. So must be having something up with his internet, but
must be.
I think the drivers that are going to keep it out the walls are going to be the ones that do well here.
Yeah. Onyx and Lawman's disqualified from the formation lap. They must have just had a little bit of contact with each other. But just looking through all of the tyres, we've got V5 and New Waluigi, both of the McLaren drivers on the ultra soft tyres, along with Bullet Boy, who hopefully will come back in the session relatively shortly. And then we've got Larkin and FC Game Boys on the super soft tyres. Lawman's and Onyx are on the hypers. So starting from 16th and 17th, they're on the hyper soft tyres.
Yeah, personally, if I was starting outside the top 10, I'd also I'd go for the ultras, and that seems to be the most popular choice there. But the first of the cars now line up on the grid. It's probably the tightest run to turn one at Stand the Vote on the calendar. These guys are going to have to watch themselves, keep it out the wall, try and avoid contact with each other. But here we go, lining up. The lights about to come on for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Here we go, the 5 red lights are coming on. And it's lights out. Away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. Rick has got an excellent start, and so has Decky. Decky trying to go around the outside of Mitch, not managing to get it done. Spine has gone down the inside of Killer Blue. FC Game Boys has already retired from the session, so must have had a bit of an accident going on towards up to turn 1. Bullet Boy already moved up into 13th/12th position. So already making up a couple of places. Larkin down in 14th place as well. The two Toro Rosso still staying in 7th and 8th position. But we've still got this battle up for the lead. Decky trying to look around the outside of Mitch, not managing to get a move done. All of these guys having a little bit of a pile up on the hairpin. It looks like whoever that was in the Force India, I think that was Lawman's, moved up, jumped up quite a few places because it looked like they were all just stopped at the hairpin.
Yeah, just everyone checking up on the braking. It's a big braking zone, and that certainly put across there. But up at the front, Mitch has been able to retain the lead of this race. Not too many movers at the front. Decky's still sitting third with second with Rick in third. But yeah, it was reasonably clean up until that hairpin where just everyone closing up on the braking caught a couple of drivers out.
Yeah, it has indeed. Onyx hasn't got a front wing, so he's obviously had a bit of an incident going up to the Nouvelle chicane. As I'm just looking at the McLarens in front, Bullet Boy is already in the pits, so he must have had a bit of an accident as well. Same with New Waluigi. FC Gamers has just left the session. I can't really say I blame him. Larkin is also in the pits, so I can imagine those three guys are not going to be happy, especially Larkin, considering he started on the super soft tyres. He's now going to have to do the two-stop strategy.
Yeah, that's going to compromise him as they've got side by side here. RJ forcing his way past Lorman. The Force India man had to go into the wall slightly, but it looks like pretty much everyone from 13th downwards has had to go a trip through the pits for repairs. After we've got Bullet Boys out. I imagine he probably bent it. I'm not sure how he managed that, but it gives us a VSC, not a full safety car, which I'm sure the guys that just pitted would have been praying for. But it is only a VSC. The race will get underway shortly. Mitch currently leads the way. These guys running a decent way ahead of each other. There's a decent gap between everyone, as apart from between Spain and Harry, we're very close on the track. They were for the whole time. But yeah, these guys are lining up now, waiting for it to go green once again. Mitch kind of backing up the pack a little bit. As are they getting back underway? I don't believe so. No, they're not. So yeah, Gary's taking this opportunity to go into the pits. He's not running quite low on fuel, apparently, according to his telemetry. But he's going to put on the super sauce and maybe try and get all the way to the end of the race, as is Lormans as well as he comes in.
It is possible for them to try and get to towards the end of the race with the super soft tyres. You have to manage them, but it is definitely possible. As we are back underway racing, Spine is still just keeping up with these top 5 guys. In fact, it looks like the top 7 are all within, top 8, sorry, all quite close to each other. And then we've got 9th down to 15th. As RJ is already 5 seconds behind Own. Lawrence picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty for corner cutting. So a straight corner cutting that he has just earned. And got a 5-second stop-go for it. Spine has just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well.
Yeah, penalties galore for the moment.
Yeah.
That's, oh, it's been a massive. Lormans has bent it going into the hairpin. He must have caught in that wall potentially that sticks out. Onyx is just coming through now, so we'll see. I don't know how he's managed to do that. The way his car is backwards, so I have no idea how he's managed to get the car in that position. But Lormans, after an instant first few laps, finally out of the race, and yeah, that's going to be bitterly disappointing for the Force India man.
It will indeed. I'm just having a look. These top 5 guys are still really close to each other. Sorry, top 6 guys are still really close to each other. Killer is probably wanting to try and get past the Red Bull driver of Rick.
Yeah, Killer trying to pressure him, but it's just... And Onyx is out as well, so we've got plenty of incidents early on. He might have done that down at Anthony Noakes based on where the other cars are on the track. And we have yet another retirement in this race, and with only 13 cars left out of the 17 already, we're not even 4 laps into this race. Wow, and there he is actually, he's bent it going through the swimming pool, and these guys are going to have to be careful, they have to avoid him, as Harry got very close, certainly, and has put off his line going into the second part of the swimming pool, and I don't know why they haven't cleared this car yet. He seems to be ghosted, but it's still going to be a distraction.
Yeah, it's going to be putting people off. They're thinking they're going to have to try and avoid it, and it's obviously why Harry's had to take a different line going into the swimming pool section. Rick still just sort of maintaining up to the gap between sort of Decky and Killer Blue. Killer doesn't look like he's making any progress on him, and Rick looks like he's just sort of keeping us just under a second behind Decky. So they're not doing too bad in that one. Harry looks like he's right on the back of Spine in the hairpin. So I'm looking towards the tunnel section to see if he may try and get a move done in towards the Nouvelle chicane. We shall see.
One thing that I find quite interesting is that a lot of these guys have actually decided to underfuel their cars. If you look at the telemetry, a lot of them have the yellow fuel light. So that's an interesting choice. These guys opting for a lighter car to start the race and have a bit more pace early on. But certainly, Decky has managed to gap these guys a little bit, and but I was going to say it will leave Rick vulnerable because he doesn't have DRS, but to be honest, there's almost no obvious place to overtake at Monaco, so I'd really struggle to see where these guys can make moves stick, and I think this race is going to be won on pit strategy and on just avoiding damage, because you can't really overtake on track unless you're an absolute idiot and it somehow works.
Don't forget about penalties as well.
Oh yes, very good point. I believe Spain has already picked up a penalty early on, but look at Harry, got very close to the back of the Haas. Going through the Lowe's hairpin. These guys beginning to gap the 2 Toro Rossos behind as the top 6 begin to establish themselves. It's Killer Blue that appears to be struggling a little bit. What's going on?
I've just seen a little bit of front wing flying through the tunnel section. I don't know who that was off of, but I saw it from Harry's point of view. I saw a bit of front wing just going past him. So, someone up ahead, it's Killer. Killer has lost a bit of his front wing. His front right end plate has gone.
Well, is he going to stay out? Is he going to pick? He picks up a penalty as well. and that's enabled wreck, because Becky is going to go in for an undercut. Maybe he lit up those tyres, it's very easy to do so, and maybe he picked up damage. Killer is also in the pits. These guys, well, Becky puts on the supers, Killer also puts on the supers. So Becky looks like he didn't have damage, he's just going for an undercut. Mitch was beginning to gap him. So yeah, those as we are getting up to the pit window, actually lap 6, 7 is around about the time you want to be stopping. And the undercut can be quite powerful around here. If these guys don't look after the tyre temperatures, even after the patch that we had a few weeks ago, well actually it's over a month ago I believe now, but it is easier to look after the tyre temperatures, but those hypers, you've still got to watch them. So Becky, in particular, going for that undercut, and he's got clean air, he could be in a very strong position to potentially even challenge Mitch.
Does indeed. So we'll have to see how this undercut is going to work. As long as he doesn't get caught up in a bit of traffic, it should probably work out, and we'll probably get the undercut done on the Ferrari driver, unless the Ferrari driver does decide to pit this lap. In fact, I'll go on board with him and see if he does. So let's have a look. Coming around Raskas now. He goes into the pit, so
Yeah.
I want to keep an eye on the Mercedes driver of Decky. Let's see, he's coming up towards the swimming pool section now. It's going to be close coming out when he's coming out of the pit. But I have the feeling Mitch may have just jumped him, as also Rick, Jerry and Harry have all followed him into the pit.
Yeah, it's Spain that's the one that stayed out. Mitch looks to be comfortably ahead of Decky. Decky, he's not going to be far behind. He definitely has got a bit of an undercut, and he's got to take advantage of it now before Mitch's tyres get up to temperature, but he's not going to be anywhere near a move. He is closer, probably by about a second, but overall that undercut not quite working out. But if Mitch, I think, called that right for sure, if he had stayed out another lap, I think he would have been under real pressure from the Mercedes.
Yeah, he would do indeed. I'm just watching. Oh, sorry about that. I was just watching the battle for P12 and 13. I think New Waluigi just lost a bit of his front wing going in towards turn 1, and that's given Larkin the opportunity to get past him, and now Larkin is up into P12, trying to chase down Gary, who is down in P11.
Yeah, these guys all suffering a little bit at the beginning of this race, trying to claw back lost ground. Also, Keller's front wing changes really set him on the back foot as Spain and owned, and probably RJ as well, all dive into the pits, the latest cars to stop in this race. No, RJ's actually staying out, but it's Keller has been really set back like this. He was running in P4, now he's behind Jari, who I believe was running in P7 or 8 in the opening couple of laps. So he's lost a lot of ground as a Ferrari man, and he's got to really push to get himself back up. He is ahead of Owen, but he has got to push and try and potentially force his way past Jari. That's not going to be easy at all. But yeah, his chances of a podium are really set back by that.
Yeah, they are indeed. I think Owens actually also had to do a front wing change because he's now 6 seconds behind Keller. So I think Owen may have had to do a little bit of a front wing change, hence why he's now all the way down in P11. However, we'll see the top two guys still, V5 and RJ, still need to do a pit stop. They're actually quite close to each other on track. V5 picking up a penalty as I've just gone on board with him. Bit of a commentator's curse on that, if I do say so myself.
Yeah. I think RJ is probably going to be struggling quite a bit. B5 has been able to reel him in. I think RJ has stayed out so long, 9 laps, and as hypers he half spent into the pit lane. It seemed like he almost lost control, but this is going to get interesting now. V5 is not going to be pitting for quite a few laps, I wouldn't think. So now, Mitch, Decky, your race leaders, now beginning to close in on the McLaren, and yeah, this could be a change for the lead potentially. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will see. V5, if he's going to end up battling Mitch, or if Mitch is going to try and go for an audacious move. V5 has a little bit of a half spin, but manages to hold it going into the hairpin. Still remaining out ahead of them, and you've got to think Mitch is going to start to get a bit frustrated that he's still in the way and needs to try and get past him, because this is just going to give Decky the opportunity to catch up.
Going into the Nouvelle chicane, he isn't far away, but it's so risky. Go for a move there. He's got much more grip though, and you see much later on the brakes than the McLaren. But V5 still holding firm in front of the Ferrari driver. Decky's just got to make sure he keeps in contact there. I think he's made a little bit of a mistake because he has dropped back a little bit, but Mitch closer than ever, going down into Razkas, not close enough. He's being sensible about this. He knows that Decade's going to have an even tougher task of getting
Oh,
past him, but RJ is out. So RJ, as he had a moment at the Noville chicane on the exit or to back, and not sure, but
Novell.
Mitch right, Mitch right up behind the McLaren. This could be a chance for the lead. He moves to the inside, going into Massenet, and V5 has to jump out of the way. Mitch very aggressive and late on those brakes, and that's a key move because now Decky is going to have to find his way past that struggling McLaren, and this is Mitch's chance to really get the hammer down and open up a gap.
Yeah, we will see if V5 is going to be able to maintain that P2 if he decides to come into the pits relatively soon. If he does decide to pit though, that should put him out by where, I would say by Own or Gary he'll be with, if I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
so that's interesting to see. Now, look at how quickly Mitch has been able to open up that gap. He's almost lost or broken that DRS to V5. Now, as I say that, he just does. Decky has got a real task on his hands. If he wants any chance of winning this race by right, and he has a little look into Razgas, he's getting a bit desperate now as the German. He's got to get through now. Now, DRS going down into turn one. He's going to have a little look. Goes to the inside, late on the brakes. V5 can't do anything, and I don't think he wants to fight it too hard. Decky gets up into P2. Now he's got to try and hunt down Mitch, which is going to be no mean feat for sure. He's got a 2-second gap now, even though he was in the DRS before. So Mitch has managed to fare better with that McLaren of V5, and Rick is going to be the next man to challenge the Briton.
Yeah, V5 not managing to hold that P2, Decky managing to get the move done. Relatively easy done, it was turn one. So, nicely done from him. We're going to go on board for the battle for P10. Oh, sorry, for P9. Gary and Own. Now, Own obviously just being on 3-lap old super soft tyres. Gary pit on lap 3. And I imagine he's going to want to try and take these supers to the end of the race.
Yeah, that's not going to be an easy task, but he is holding on for the moment. He's got that Toro Rosso of Own, who's on much fresher tyres. Both these guys probably going to the end of the race, unless Gary runs out of tyres or either of them get damaged. But as V5 does pull into the pits, he should be putting on a set of the super soft tyres, and he gets out the way of Rick. Rick has closed that gap up to Decky just about. He's a second and a half behind. Harry has not lost any time through that, and he can go hunting as Spain picks up yet another penalty at Santavone. Jari isn't that far off the Haas driver, actually. He's quite a good racer, Jari. He's on for a very good result if he keeps it clean from now on in.
Here we go.
But these guys...
Sorry, sorry to interrupt you there. V5 has just come out just ahead of Gary. Owen has managed to get the move done on Gary as well. So Gary now in P10. V5 now on a fresh set of the super soft tyres. And I can imagine that he's going to want to try and get past Owen as quick as he can.
Yeah,
Ooh.
very important. Oh, Larkin's out. Another victim. And that's right, another casualty. Where has he gone? He's gone in on the exit of Massenet for the casino, yeah. So that's another incident, and Larkin, I don't know if he's going to get those points. Now he's not classified, so yeah, he's going to miss out on points. He could have just cruised to the line with only 11 cars now running in this race, 12 at the time where he crashed. But yeah, we have yet another retirement in this race, and I don't imagine that's going to be the last one as the competitors begin to whittle down. It's turning into a real race of attrition, as we expected. But certainly most of the top guys have been incident free, and that's why we're saying those top 6 have been the only drivers that haven't really had a major incident, and that's why they're running at the front of the field and a decent way ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, indeed. We're still just watching V5. He has caught right up to the back of Own. He just seems to look like he's doing a lot better than what those guys around him are doing. Even his teammate's like 13 seconds behind Gary. So about 15, maybe 16, maybe even 16 seconds behind him. As saying that as well, just watching Gary, he's got a 3-second time penalty for cutting the hairpin. Difficult getting a penalty there, so I'll congratulate Gary for that one.
I'm surprised that we've seen so many penalties early on. I mean, I've only ever done one league race at Monaco, and I didn't pick up a single warning. So I don't understand what's going
Oh,
on. Like, oh, Killer's out. Yet another retirement. Is that on the exit of the? No, that's coming towards Radkas. I think his car's rolled along a little bit, which is why it's in quite a strange place. I think he must have bent it on the exit of the swimming pool.
yeah.
Yet another retirement. Only 10 cars now run in this race, and well, his teammate leads the race by a decent margin, just under 3 seconds from Decky. We have another retirement. Just so many incidents, and now we're whittled down to just 10 cars, and we started with 17, so we're not even halfway through this race. I'm not sure what is going to happen, but these guys now have, everyone has got a chance of some very solid points here. So I think the mentality for particularly the two Toro Rossos who haven't had, particularly Jari, who I know hasn't had the best start to this season.
Oh,
Oh, his spine spins out right in front of him. I believe he might have caught the Toro Rosso, but Spine was struggling. He was dropping back from the cars ahead. He was being reeled in by the Toro Rosso behind, and there's a mistake. He's having to really nurse the car through the swimming pool now. I don't know if he had damage before, but he seems to just be, he was struggling for laps and laps, and that's finally culminated in a mistake from him. Does he stay out? He doesn't. He does stay out, sorry. So he is going to carry on, but that could have lit up his rear tyres, and now he's got to be very careful on keeping those on the island, because he can't afford to make another pit stop, or otherwise he's going to fall right down the field.
yeah. If he does end up pitting, he'll end up coming up by, well, probably just in front of New Waluigi. That means he will be on fresher tyres, but that means that he's going to have to do the two-stop strategy. Sorry. So it's not exactly ideal for Spine whatsoever, as whilst he was going over that deck, he had picked up a 3-second time penalty. So he's going to need to try and make up this gap to Rick. It looks like it's quite even at the front at the moment, all within about 2.5 seconds within each other, sorry. So things are sort of shaping out in the race now. The closest battle on track is just for Battle for P7, which is with Own and V5.
V5 with 4-lap fresher tyres than owned in front of him. So we could be saying a potential move from him. It's going to be very difficult, obviously, as I've stressed quite a lot during this race, probably too much. But you can't really stress it enough. It's Monaco. You're not going to be seeing many overtakes, more crashes, and that's what we've been treated to so far. But still, V5 gradually reeling the Dutchman in, and he's got DRS now. He's not opening it for some reason. There he is now, finally. He does have, everyone I've noticed, well, most of the drivers do have plenty of ERS left, particularly V5, who's got almost 90%. So these guys are doing a good job of looking after their ERS, which means, well, it helps with overtaking, but we're not going to be seeing much of that today. But V5 is in a very good position when it comes to that, so he can deploy as much as he likes when he decides to challenge Owned, if that does end up happening. He is gradually closing down on Owned ahead of him, but it is going to be difficult. Is he going to be able to find his way through it?
We will see when it comes up. It will probably be in the next couple of laps if he's going to be able to get a move done. V5 though, he has got a penalty. Do remember that. So that could come into play towards the end of the race. Gary looks like he is struggling massively. He's already dropped back 5 seconds behind the McLaren driver. New Waluigi also looks like he's struggling quite a bit. Although to be fair, they are both on 14 and 15 lap old super soft tyres. So I think they were ones that may have been caught up in an incident further on from the Grand Prix. So we will see, as it looks like Decky's made a bit of a mistake, because Rick is now within DRS range. In fact, he is right behind him.
We've investigated that at just the same time. I don't know, has he knocked the front wing? I'm not sure, because he was about 3 seconds behind Metro lap ago, and now that gap of 5 seconds with the brick all over him. Is the Red Bull driver, who has had some decent results lately, is he going to be able to fight his way past? Decky seems to have got going and he's running a decent pace, but wait, I believe if I run on board with him, I'm not sure if he has damage. He might have on that. It's really hard to say, but he may have damage, and he is dropping back. He must have damage. Look how close Rick is pushing to him. Decky doesn't pit. He's relying on track position here, and this could be allowing Harry into play as well. But now Rick, DRS open, is going to have a look. Decky goes defensive into turn 1, not something we often see. Now, up towards Massini. In the slipstream is Rick. He's in overtake mode. He's going to go all out for this as Spain pulls into pits round the outside of Massini. That would be fantastic. Maybe he can pull it off. And Rick, if he can keep it on the track, Decky's not going to give it up easy. Switch to the outside going into Mirabeau, but Rick holds on to it. That's a fantastic move from the Red Bull.
Yeah, what a move. What a move. That was that was very impressive, I must admit. Rick going around the outside of Decky, as you said, through Massenet. That's also given Harry the opportunity to maybe even get an overtake done on this teammate. Decky really does look like he is struggling. He has got the 3-second time penalty. I don't think Harry or Rick do. So even without the track position, he'll still be ahead of, he'll still finish behind them anyway. So it does look as if that, and it also looks like Jarry's catching up to him. He's only 3.4 seconds behind him. So the Toro Rosso driver could be on for a really good result this race. As Decky's clipped the wall, had a little bit of almost had a bit of a half spin, and has also caught up with his teammate. Luckily, I think Harry just avoided him, and Decky is now in the pits. So Jarry is now up into P4, and I think Decky may end up coming out just around where Owen is.
No, he'll be behind Owen for sure. He'll probably come out close to where Gary is, I'd imagine. Probably just ahead. But he's not going to be. It's not going to be around much, if anything. So Decky, a huge compromise in this race. He was fighting for the win at one point. He is actually going to be behind Gary, so he's going to have to work his way up the field. Spain has also done the same after he had a spin earlier on, as we saw. He's quite a way behind Decky, but Decky now, once he gets those tyres working, he is going to be flying. And right up to the back of Gary very soon, I'd imagine, especially with Gary's 17-lap-old tyres. So Decky now closing in. He's going to try and treat us to some action, potentially, as he reels in that Red Bull ahead. Is Gary going to put on much for fight? He might know this isn't his fight to try and defend from. But I expect he'll still give it a go. But Decky looking rapid as he chases down the Red Bull. He's got a race on his hands to try and salvage a decent result of this. But big disappointment for his race. He's now got to get his head down and fight his way up the fields.
Yeah, he will do indeed. As I said, he's on the ultra soft tyres now. Gary just up ahead of him on 17 lap super soft tyres. Like I said, Gary's going to want to try and take these to the end of the race. So he's going to need to do a lot of preserving. Hopes that he doesn't get in a lot of battles. But with Decky right behind him, it's not going to help him whatsoever. Decky has got a much better run on Gary, going down the inside of him. Coming up towards turn 1, I don't think Gary is going to fight it whatsoever. And Decky is now up into P7. He's now got to go try and charge down the McLaren of V5, who is actually just behind both of the Toro Rossos. Both Toro Rossos in P4 and P5. So they're doing quite well to maintain, well, to be in the top 5 for the both of them.
Very wise driving from Gary there. He knew that wasn't his fight and he jumped straight out of the way in the Mercedes. He's got tyres to look after. So I think he's probably just looking, trying to salvage a decent haul of points from this race. But yeah, Decky picks off Gary with ease, and now he's got to chase down that Toro Rosso and McLaren battle for P5 and P6 renowned and V5. Towards the front, Mitch still holding his lead. I don't imagine he's pushing all out because he's got a decent gap now after Decky made a mistake. But Rick's still running a very solid P2 ahead of Gary. Harry, to get mixed up, they've similar names. But probably my driver of the day so far. I say so far because everything can change. It's got to be Jari. He's driving an absolutely fantastic race in P4, and given how quick those top 2 drivers are, he's really kept them honest. He's only 13 seconds off the lead, which, given where he started, that is seriously impressive. So he's, in my opinion, he's driver of the day so far. He's done a great job, and hopefully he's able to keep it going.
Yeah, hopefully he does manage to keep it going. He's now only within 2.8 seconds of Harry up ahead of him. He's actually managing to cut the gap down quite quickly to him as well. And it doesn't look like Harry's losing much time to Rick, so Jarry looks like he could be the fastest car on track so far. I could be wrong, but he's now already within 2.5 seconds of Harry. So give it another 5 laps, and he should be right on the back of him having DRS on the start-finish straight.
Wow, he is driving a very impressive race at this stage. Further down the field, well, I say further down the field, one position further down the field, his teammate about 10 seconds behind Jarry on the road, still having to see off that McLaren of V5. The pace seems to be very similar, so V5 doesn't, despite V5 having fresher tyres, he doesn't seem to be able to close down that gap. Really, he's got to get his head down and try and push a little bit harder. Obviously, that can result in a crash, but so he's able to get on. Decky is cutting down that gap so quickly, though. The gap was 7 seconds when he got past Gary. It's now less than 5 seconds, so he is probably. You said Gary's the fastest car on the track. I think Decky has to be.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Mercedes man.
To be honest, I completely forgot about Decky. He's getting that gap down to V5 rapidly. It was within like 7 seconds in like 2 laps ago, I believe. It's now down to 5.
Yeah. Yeah, Decky really flying. And Jari, though, he is definitely catching Harry ahead of him. He was about 3 seconds last lap. It's 2.2. So Harry may be struggling a little bit, but as you mentioned, he's not really losing time to Rick ahead of him. So I just think Jari's going really quickly right now. He's matching the pace of Mitch, which is really impressive to see. So the Toro Rosso man looking to potentially make inroads in Harry ahead of him. He's driving a great race so far, and he could even be sniffing a podium here.
It does look as if he is going to be on the charge to get his first podium in D1. And it does look like he may end up getting it. It just depends on the penalty situation. I don't think Jarry has any penalties. I don't think Harry has any penalties. So it's going to have to be done on track.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see how these guys fare. Two Toro Rossos, both of them running in the top 5. They can be very happy with their efforts so far. But I'm just going to look back to Mitch. He seems to be controlling this race from the front, just looking after his tyres, looking after the condition of his car, because he's not really pulling away from Rick that quickly. And because Mitch, I know he loves this track, he probably can just murder everyone, but of course runs the risk of crashing out the race as Decky sets the fastest lap of the race. That's not going to be good news for those guys in P5 and 6. They're going to be wary of a charging Mercedes in P7. Stein could also be chasing down Gary. He's only 2.5 seconds behind. Remember, he had to pit, and he's having to fight his way through the field as well. But I can't see him getting any further than Gary, given how late on it is in the race now. But Spine's still pushing on and trying to take down that Red Bull as Decky continues to close on McLaren and the Toro Rosso ahead.
Yeah, it does look like V5 is just staying on the back of mine at the moment. As you said, Decky, obviously on the fresher and the softer compound of tyre, is is coming up to the back of the Toro Rosso and the McLaren. He's only 2.3 seconds now. I think, as I said, it was about 4, maybe even 5 seconds from the last lap. So, a second a lap, give it another 2 or 3 laps, and he should be either battling or past V5, maybe even with Own as well.
The thing is, if V5 is able to get himself into that DRS range of Owen, it will help him defend from the German. Because that DRS is just going to be getting a little bit of a boost down the straight. We've seen quite a few overtakes either being made or set up into Sandavone. So if V5 is able to get himself into that DRS range of Owen, he'll prevent, well, it won't prevent, but it'll certainly lower the chances of a solid overtake from Decky into Sandavone or setting up one into Massamy. So it's vital for V5 to find those extra couple of tenths, get in the DRS, and he's got much more defence against Decky.
He will indeed, and speaking of defence, I think that's what the Red Bull driver of Gary is going to have to do against Spine. Gary, 23 lap old super soft tyres, they are starting to go off now. I can see that just from looking at how he's driving, just having a little bit of oversteer moment coming out of the hairpin, going in towards the hairpin as well. Spine on the fresher set of the ultra soft tyres, only 7 lap old, softer compound tyre. Not getting a move done, and Gary going into the Novelle chicane, but it looks like Gary has actually got a better run than what Spine did coming out of there. But because Spine is on the fresher and softer compound, he's going to have the better run regardless.
Yeah, he just has to set himself up. But Deke gets very close coming outside the bone to V5. He's going to have a look. Is he going to try and emulate what Rick does? Has a little look into Massenet. V5 leaves the door open. They've just been able to avoid contact. And going into the casino, V5 sensibly backs out of it. So, Deke gets through. They did very well not to avoid contact. And now, we've got more battling going up the hill. Spain running outside of Gary. Oh, he gets a... I'm not sure if Gary hit him or if Spain just got out of shape, but the Haas driver went into the wall regardless, and that I don't know if he got damage from that, but that's going to compromise him. He's got to try and go again. Yeah, he does have damage on that right hand end plate. So yet another incident for Spain in this race, and now he's dropping back from Gary. I can't see him finishing any higher than 9th now.
Yeah, I think Spine did pick up some wing damage. It doesn't look as if it doesn't look like it on our side, but I think I did see some front wing flying off. In fact, you can see it just on his front right, and he hits the wall as well,
Yeah.
coming in towards the swimming pool section. So not helpful for him at all. Yeah, you can definitely see he's lost a bit of front wing, so it's unfortunate for the Haas driver, but I guess that's racing in the end of the day. Just going on board with Deke. He's now right on the back of Owen. V5 has already dropped down 2 seconds behind Deke, which means that he's now dropped down quite a bit behind Owen as well.
Yeah, and considering he has pressure tyres on him, that is a bit of a surprise. He's clearly made a mistake at some point. He's got to get back going again if he wants any chance of taking that P5 off of Owen. But going back to the incident with Spain, as Rick picks up a penalty, that could... I know Harry also has a penalty, so he should be fine. But going back to that incident on the last lap, from my point of view, it's quite hard to tell straight away, but it looked like Spain just got oversteer and went into the wall. I'm not sure if Gary did hit him, because the way his car reacted was very odd, just getting oversteer mid-corner, as Deke looks to pressure on into a mistake potentially. They're going down towards Santafo. Deke not close enough for a move. If he gets good exit with his grippier tyres, he could have a chance. He does get a good exit. He is going to be threatening the Toro Rosso for sure. Going into Massenet, has a look at the inside. There's nothing Owen can do. He hangs it right the outside. He's going to do the exact same thing that V5 did. Just back out of it going into the casino. It's too tight there, and Deke moves through up into P5. So he's managed to salvage something decent from this race. He may have an outside chance of catching Jari as well, and I'm not sure if Mercedes driver Deke has penalties. He does have.
He has one.
He actually. Yeah, actually no, he has two apparently, because I think he may have got because it's saying that he has 2 warnings, a penalty, and then it just says 3 seconds, which might have been for his second pit stop. Because I know if you go over the line, it does give you a straight 3-second penalty. So Deke may have 6 seconds, which with Jari having none right now, that is that's going to hinder his chances, even if he does have an outside chance of catching him.
Yeah, I think that's probably where Deke is going to have to remain unless one of the top 4 guys up ahead of him ends up crashing out. Things like that, they're just starting to calm down now in the race. No one's sort of particularly too close to each other on track other than Gary and Spine. Spine's actually already caught up to the back of Gary once again. Gary picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Spine, with a bit of a broken front wing, is again on the back of Gary.
And also, Gary has 9 seconds of penalties now. Spine only has, well, I say only, he has 6 seconds. So, if he's able to stick within 3 seconds of the Red Bull, he will pick up that 8th position. I'm surprised. He was struggling when he got the front wing damage. Dropped back by about 2 seconds from the Red Bull, but it seems like he's managed to adapt to it and is actually making it work quite impressively. So he could even without penalties, he could even challenge Gary on track, which is a big surprise to me, but he is going to keep pushing, he is going to look for that move, and yeah, to my surprise, he is actually coming back at Gary.
Yeah, it does look like Spine could get a move done on the Red Bull driver. I know he's on 27 lap old super soft tyres, so that's obviously going to be a factor within it. But to counter that, Spine has wing damage. So how he's managed that is beyond me to start off with. He's going to have a lot of straight line speed on the Red Bull driver. But yeah, you can see he just understeers a lot through turn one, which gives Gary the opportunity to move up ahead a bit more.
It's an odd battle, isn't it? Because there's going to be corners where Spine's going to be affected less by the front wing, and he closes in on the Red Bull because of his grippier tyres. There's going to be other corners where that part of the front wing that's damaged is put under a heavy load, and he's just going to be much slower. It's a very strange battle. We've got yellows in sector 3. Who is that? That's Jari. He's had a spin, and that's going to allow Decky through. So there's the first mistake from Jari in this race, and Decky moves up into P4. So he is going to still get decent points from this race. Although he does have a penalty, I believe, but it's going to be almost impossible for Jari to stay close to him. There is a mistake. An otherwise brilliant race from Jari, but now if he's lit up those tyres, it could even put him under threat from his teammate.
Yeah, that's unlucky from Jari. He was having a really good race. Like I said, he was catching up to the back of Harry, and then now he's not going to be able to keep up with him. It's unfortunate for him. Still going on board with this battle for P8 with Gary and Spine. As just seems to be the closest battle on track. Spine is keeping within that distance of Gary. Now he's going to want to try and keep within the 3 seconds, which I think he's going to be able to do anyway. Because Gary's tyres are looking really bad at the moment. He still needs to take them another 7 more laps if he wants to hold it. And yeah, I'm just gotten past Gary.
One mistake can cost you dearly at Monaco. We've seen a perfect example of that. Jari could be under threat from B5. Does the Toro also have wing damage? It looks like, yeah, he does. He does have pretty severe wing damage on the left-hand end plate, so that's why we're seeing him struggling like that. In V5, I think it's easy pickings for McLaren because he's just so much quicker. Is Jari going to pit? Yes, he does. So into the pits goes the Toro Rosso. He still has a chance of getting P8, I think, because he is going to be rapid in these next few laps. So I wouldn't count him out of getting P8 just yet, but considering he was running comfortably in P4, that's just going to be, even if he does manage to get that, that is going to be so disappointing for him.
Yeah, as I said, up in P4. He had Decky that was catching him, but I wasn't too sure if Decky was actually going to be able to stay with him or be able to even catch up to him towards the end of the race. But with that happening, that's now basically confirmed that it's going to be looking like how the grid is going to be now. Mitch finishing in first, Rick in second, with Harry in third and Decky in fourth. But Decky, you said, may potentially have 6 seconds of penalties. How about Own? I don't think Own has a penalty.
I'll have a check. Man in P5 he does have a penalty that he picked up in the last few laps. He went so long without picking up a warning. He picked up 2 warnings in the first few laps, but ultimately going through almost an entire Monaco race without picking up another warning has just been a bit too much for him. V5 on the other hand, he's about 3 seconds behind. Oh, he has plenty of penalties, let's just say that.
Yep.
He has a stop and go and a 3-second time penalty, so I don't expect it shouldn't really change or affect his result at all, because he's 17 seconds ahead of Gary, and I expect that to increase even more as the Red Bull struggles with tyre wear. But Spain, even though he was catching, he's not exactly pressuring it. Maybe that dirty air has just held him back a little bit. So the Haas driver not quite able to get close enough. Jari is catching both of them at a rate of knots. Is he going to be able to put himself through on both of them? They both have plenty of penalties, so I think the Toro Rosso will end up getting P7 out of this, but I can't imagine he'll be happy with that, considering he was in the fight for the podium. Yeah. Now he's just scrapping over points, but he's still going to give it everything he has as he closes down the Haas driver ahead.
Yeah, he will indeed. Jari is now obviously within 1.5 seconds of Spine. For some reason, Spine has just dropped off a bit more from Gary. Gary probably finding a little bit more life in these super soft tyres. Also, Spine on 15 lap old Ultra Softs, they're going to start to go off. So, Spine, I think, is just going to be struggling for the rest of the race. It's going to give Gary the opportunity to try and get away. And it's also going to give the opportunity of Jarry to try and, well, to try and even get past him. Jarry setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, there's no surprise there, him being the fastest car out on track as we speak. He's now only within 6 tenths of Spine. Spine with a damaged front wing as well. So it's not again not a surprise that he's managed to catch up so quickly. Is he gonna try anything? It's not.
You can just see the abundance of downforce and grip that Jari has in comparison to that wounded Haas of Spain. But he's just got to try and find his way past here. I believe he'll still be able to pick up this position when penalties are applied. But he could even go side by side into the Novell chicane. This could get risky. He's going to look around the outside. There's no way to hit two cars through there, and he does sensibly back out of it. Spain holds firm in P8, and it may allow Gary to escape up the road just a little bit. As through these higher speed corners, that's where Spain is really struggling, because that's when the downforce is really activated, and he's not got the downforce at his disposal because of that front wing damage. So the opportunity could come through for Jarry as they got towards Sandebone.
Will indeed. Jarry still not managing to get a move done on Spine. However, going uphill, I believe Jarry might try and go for somewhere in Massenet. No, he doesn't, and he looks like he's just getting held up. Yeah, there we go. Now going down in towards. I can't remember what the corner is. He has a little bit of a lock up, but goes down the inside of Spine in for the hairpin, and I think Spine's just given that up now. Jerry's got to try and chase down Gary. Jerry and Gary in a battle with each other.
Why do you have to do it? Come on. But,
to be fair,
yeah,
Jerry was almost in a battle with Harry.
Yeah. What? It's already. Oh, that could be it. I believe both of these guys may have. No, I believe Gary actually has 9 seconds penalty, so Jerry now has 6, but he should still be fine. He continues to chase down that Red Bull driver, and he probably won't know what kind of penalties the Red Bull has got, so he's still gonna push it with everything he's got. The exit, Anthony Nugs, and I think Gary, he's not gonna fight it. Gary moves through up into P7, but that's, I believe, is going to be the best that he's going to get in this race. He's got 18-second gap to P5. Not going to be caught within 3 laps, and Etch is about to make it 2 laps out from the line. Not really mentioned it much in the second half of this race, but he's just looked after his tyres, and he looks to be cruising towards his 3rd win of the season, I believe. So, the Ferrari man, 2 laps to go. He's done well to keep it out of the walls, and he's just got to do it for 2 more laps.
He has indeed, and also, interestingly enough, Decky has just picked up another penalty. So Decky, with potentially 9 seconds of penalties, and you said Owen only has 3, correct? Or has Owen got 6 as well?
Yeah, he only has 3 seconds of penalties, so the gap has to be 6 seconds, and look what it is 6 seconds dead. Now, Decky does have softer tyres, but the ultra soft tyres, they are going to get stretched a little bit by 18 laps, and it'll be 20 laps by the time everything's all said and done. So, Owen could be in with a shot of getting P4, and he'll be able to salvage some of his teammates' woes in this race. Wow, this could get very intriguing here. Is Owen going to pick up by far his best result of the season? He's got a real opportunity to here. As he is actually catching that Mercedes ahead. So I think he picks up another penalty. That's got to decide it. Unless Owen bends it, that's got to be it. Looks like Decky is going to lose out on P4, and he's going to give that up to the Toro Rosso of Owen.
It's unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. You're having a good recovery drive back up into P4, despite obviously having a bit of wing damage. But now we're on a final lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm riding on board with the Ferrari man who has just kept it clean, consistent throughout the entire race. I don't think he's even moved from P1 even after he pit. I think he remained there the entire time. No, ignore that because he was in a battle with RJ, wasn't he?
V5 and RJ.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Mitch, just a classic performance from him. Had the net lead the whole way. Came under a little pressure, bit of pressure from Decky
Little
in
weave.
the earlier stage of the race. But yeah, he's already again to savor this victory. He's got time to spare as well. 7 seconds out of it. He was about 10 seconds, but he's just been cruising these last few laps. Culls can afford to. Mitch comes up towards Antonino, so the final time for the Monaco Grand Prix victory.
Yeah, so congratulations to Mitch Emery for winning the Monaco Grand Prix. Forza Ferrari, as they would say. Going on board with Rick down in P2. Now we're right on board with Harry. I think Harry is going to stay in P3. He is indeed now. We'll look to Decky. Decky in fourth. Owen is 5.2 seconds behind him. I think Owen has got P4. He has indeed. So, no, congratulations to the Toro Rosso driver for getting up in the fourth position. Probably not the result he was hoping for, but did manage it in the end.
Up
And
to lane, Jari not able to capitalise on B5 stop and go. He would have only been 6 tenths behind. Now that's going to be behind the. I'm getting confused now, but Spain was able to jump ahead of Gary on penalties. He gets P8 after that race. To be honest, after the early retirements, it was actually reasonably clean. We saw a few little battles as well, which is surprising in a way, but it is Mitch for the third time this season on top of the podium, and he will extend his championship lead. So a very important win with his rival Decky down in P5 in this race. So Mitch with an important victory in the Monaco Grand Prix. He steps up for Ferrari and takes it ahead of Rick and Harry, both of them driving nice clean races to round out the podium, but I'll leave it to you to take us through the final results for the Monaco Grand Prix.
yes, so Mitch, stellar drive. The only one without a penalty, by the way. Everyone else had gotten a penalty. So, congrats to the Ferrari driver. Extending his gap now, so he's now on 115 points altogether. I believe Rick now moves up into P2. So, Rick now on the charge to try and catch up to Mitch. Although Mitch, as I said, he's on 115 points. It's almost, even though it's up Monaco now, it's very difficult to try and catch up to him. Harry finishing in P3, a very good performance from him indeed. Owen in fourth, Decky finishing in fifth position, V5 in sixth, Jerry seventh. Commiserations to him, he was doing so well before he had that spin. Speaking of spin, we got Spine in P8, Gary in ninth, New Waluigi in 10th, with Killer, Larkin, RJ, Onyx, Lawmans, Game Boy, and I can't remember who the final non-finish, and RJ as the non-finishers.
I believe you said RJ twice, but
Oh,
it
did I?
doesn't
Oh,
matter.
okay. Well, we'll stick with it.
We'll gloss over it. Um, but yeah, that is gonna round out the Monaco Grand Prix. Decent race, to be honest, considering it's Monaco. And we saw some half decent driving as well from the guys that kept it clean. Were basically the top 4 or 5. They were rewarded with the best results on the grid. But if I were had to pick a driver of the day, I'd probably have to say Owens, purely because you wouldn't like he's a guy that usually goes about his business scoring points, but he really showed that just by keeping it clean, you can just grab a really good result, and he really outperformed what everyone expected of him, I think, today. So he's my driver of the day.
Yeah, without a doubt, Owen did have quite a good drive. Kept it out of the way of everyone. When he needed to try and get past people, he managed to. People obviously getting past him. He's just let it be. So I think just going through the standings now, Mitch, as I said, on 115 points. Rick finished in second, so that's what 1863. Decky finished in sixth, wasn't it? Was it fifth or sixth?
Fifth.
Fifth. So, in fact, Decky remains out in P2. Harry finishing with 12 points is 57. So, I'm so sorry, ignore that. He's in 15th. Yeah, so Rick's up into P3. Harry is now into P4. Both of those guys just switched positions. Um, Doom and Paris obviously didn't race today, so they remain. I think they remain in 5th and 6th. Yeah. So Mitch increasing his gap massively to Decky, but Decky is being caught up by Rick. Literally, I think only 3 points behind, and then Harry is also only 3 points behind Rick. So we will see how it goes into the next race. I believe it is Canada for the next race.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but that would make sense, Canada. Um, as for changes further down, I believe the only other change in the top 10 would have been Neil Luigi moving past Killer,
Hmm.
because of the points that he managed to pick up for P10.
Yes.
Killer obviously crashed out, wasn't classified.
Yeah.
And imagine there would probably be a driver that moved past Falcon, but we don't have the standings outside the top 10 available to us right now. So yeah, that is gonna round things up then. So I guess we're just gonna outro this. I'm not sure if any of us want some final words.
Yeah. New Waluigi, yeah, he's just put in the chat. He had 3 points this race, so he does move up ahead of Killer. So New Waluigi now into 7th in the standings. But thank you guys for watching this race. You can catch D2 in the next 10 minutes. D3, I believe it's just about to finish their race. So you can tune into that now. Believe it will still be on the LOE channel anyway. I would tune into that because I think it's quite tasty battle that is going on for the lead. But thank you guys for watching. We will catch you next week for what we think is the Canadian Grand Prix.
See you later.